Hi there guys, I'm Chris Bowden and welcome to the Geek Group. We're here today with Nathan and Jamie, and they're with Fence Consultants of West Michigan, and they have installed this big, beautiful fence to protect our high voltage power supplies and keep us from electrocuting the neighbor kids. So, your job, sir, is to tell us everything you did to get to this point. So, how do you start the process? Because we got to teach people how you build a fence.
Well, the first part is to set all our posts.
Okay.
And get them to proper height and level.
Now when you set the post, you start by drilling the hole.
Yes.
And you use really cool chopsticks for doing that, which are kind of neat. They're way better than our chopsticks. Ours are like old, straight, wooden. Yeah, you've got these nifty bent ones.
Knuckle busters. Yeah,
knuckle busters is a very accurate term.
Yes.
So you dig the hole. Now this is an 8-foot fence.
Yep.
Now the depth of the hole changes by how high the fence goes.
Yep.
All right, so you start at a 4-foot post. And then for every foot you go higher, you add 3 inches to the bottom, to the depth. Okay.
Yep.
It's kind of like the same thing they do with telephone poles, is it's 10% of the overall height plus 2 feet.
Yep.
So, okay, cool.
Same thing. And then it goes by diameter of the post. Whatever the diameter of the post is, you multiply that by 4, and that tells you how much concrete around. Like these are 2.5-inch posts, so we needed 10-inch holes.
Okay. So just multiply by 4, and that's your whole diameter.
Yep, and that's the whole diameter.
Okay. How far apart do you set the poles?
Up to 10 foot apart.
Okay.
But what we'll do is each run we'll break it down so the posts are spaced evenly.
Okay.
So you won't have a short section in the front and then everything else.
One at each end and then one in the middle.
Right.
Or 2 or 3 or whatever, but even.
Right. We'll just measure it out and divide it up evenly and we try to get as much space as we can, up to 10 feet.
Okay.
So.
And you leave the poles, like if your pole's a little bit too tall, that's okay because you can always trim them down.
Yes.
All right.
Better to trim them down than to have them too short.
Yeah, it's real hard to stretch them. All right, so you've got your post set, you go home.
Yes.
Let the concrete cure overnight. The next day you show up, what's the first thing you do?
First thing you do is get our top rail in.
Okay, and the top rail's just a clamp with a cup, measure the pipe to length, set them in.
Yep. And all that does is keep it from our pipes pulling in when we stretch the fence.
Because the fence is under tension all the time, pretty much.
Yes.
So the pipe, it's like a monocoque type setup where it's tension one way, compression the other, and that's what makes it strong.
That's actually what makes it strong, not the concrete.
Yeah.
You know, a long pipe like this, even with that concrete, you could get a lot of leverage. It wouldn't take much to tip the pipe across.
Okay.
But once you stretch that tight, that's what holds
and
the whole fence.
It's the two opposing forces up on top of the bar pushing out and the fence pulling in.
Yes.
Okay. So you set the top bars all the way around.
Yep.
And then the real work begins with stretching fence.
Yes.
Now you start with the tall, skinny, flat pieces.
Yep.
What's that called?
Tension bar.
Tension bar. Okay. And that's
flat bar.
That's laced in the last row of the fence through the diamonds, and you clamp that on one side, and then stretch the fence out from the other side with a really cool tool.
Yes.
I did not know those existed.
Hold that.
I honestly thought that was always done by hand. Like you just get a couple big guys and they lean into it or something.
You wouldn't even be able to get tight. not commercial anyway.
Okay, so you tension the fence.
Yes.
And then put the clamps in and slide in another thing. Do you cut it after that point, or do you cut it before you put the bar in and tension it?
I cut it before I put the bar in.
So you got to be pretty much right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually leave it like with a shorter run, we leave it maybe 2 inches slack. If we had like a 200-foot run, we might leave it 6 to 8 inches short.
Okay, but it isn't a whole lot. It's only 6-8 inches. Isn't a lot over 100 foot of fence.
No, not at all. But once you start ratcheting it, that will get really tight really quick. So if it's not long enough, then you end up weaving more wire back into it to make it the right length. So
that's gotta suck bad.
Yeah, and that's time consuming, and better off getting it right the first time.
So then you clamp the second side of the fence, and now the main structure is done.
Yes.
So after that, what do we do?
We'll come back with aluminum ties. We use a bar to pull our fence up to height and then tie it as we go down the whole length on the top rail.
And that sets the height all the way around?
Yes, and that make sure our wire is right to perfect height all the way around.
Now, I noticed when you installed the barbed wire, it was important that you always spin it the right direction. Like you'd loop it through, and then you'd bring it around and wrap it around itself, like half of a rat tail splice. But it always had to go a certain direction.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It had to go the same direction as the twist in the wire. That way, as you twisted, it got tighter and it didn't unravel our barbed wire.
Because the barbed wire itself is actually a couple twisted strands.
Yes.
Okay, so this way it's always tightening it more instead of unraveling everything.
Exactly.
Okay, so after the barbed wire went on, the last big thing was the gate.
Yep.
And that did not go as I thought it would. That was kind of cool. I didn't know that the bottom of the gate would actually sit in a pocket.
These are called bull hinges.
Okay.
And the gate will actually have a leg at each side on the outside, and that will set right in the bull hinge.
Okay.
And that will give us our height.
And then you set the top side of the hinges. Do those have a special name? Or is it just
same
hinge?
thing.
Okay.
They're just bull nose hinge, bull hinge.
Okay.
Either one.
And then it's a matter of getting everything aligned and getting it all perfect.
Just getting it straight and making it so it looks pretty.
And then after that, it was just putting on the big latch, which is a rather formidable latch.
Yes.
That's
Strong
quite the latch. That's a strong arm latch?
Called a strong arm.
I like that. And now all we have to do is go and get a really big padlock and we're set. All right, so there's everything you want to know about the fundamentals of how chain link fence is installed, and we want to thank Nathan for coming out. Thank you, sir.
No problem, sir.
Thank you, Jamie. These guys are from Fence Consultants, and the coolest thing is they're 3 blocks up the street from our main lab here at 902 Leonard. So check them out. If you need chain link fencing or any kind of fence installed in the Southwest Michigan area, check out Fence Consultants. We want to thank them for helping out. And you guys, as always, we'll see you next time.
This video was made possible by a grant from the Future Girl Foundation.
This video was made possible by thousands of private donations from members and viewers like you. Please visit thegeekgroup.org for more information on how you can donate and become a part of our dreams of Avalon.